My name is Mandeep. I'm going to present Australian professional standards for teachers in this presentation. To begin with, these standards are really important to improve teacher quality and learning outcomes, to set professional expectations, to ensure consistency, to have a shared professional language, to provide a pathway for recognition, to guide professional engagement, and also to guide career development and reflection. First standard is know students and how they learn. The selected evidence developmental summary on learning progress can be linked to focus area 1.2, which is understand how students learn. It reflects my understanding of each child's learning and developmental goals, their interests and strengths through the analysis of documented observations over time. It also shows my knowledge about each child, and it acts as a guide for inclusive and intentional teaching and planning to achieve the set goals and link them to EYLF learning outcomes. Second evidence for standard 1 is lesson plan, which can be linked to the substandard 1.5, which is differentiate teaching to meet the specific learning needs of students across the full range of abilities. A lesson plan reflects my understanding of implementing teaching strategies intentionally and organizing the learning environment to align with the child's individual learning needs, strengths, and interests. It also shows my ability to adapt to a tailored approach and follow a reflective practice. Therefore, I intend to implement both the substandards as part of my future teaching practice because learning progress report is an important part to keep track of each child's interests and emerging needs by making close observations over time. It also acts as a guide to achieve the learning and developmental goals that align with each child's skills and the outcomes. Overall, it can be linked to the EYLF practice, which is responsiveness to children. Also, the lesson plan is important because it helps to make observations using different teaching strategies intentionally to meet each individual's needs, and it also helps to support inclusive, responsive, and reflective practice for equal engagement. It can be linked to the EYLF principle, which is equity, inclusion, and high expectations. Next comes standard 2, which is know the content and how to teach it. Curriculum linked lesson plan, as provided in the picture, demonstrates a STEM-based learning experience which can be aligned to substandard 2.2, which is content selection and organization. It represents my innovation in intentionally planning the learning experience based upon a child's interest. It also shows my ability to logically and sequentially extend the lesson plan based upon the past observations to achieve developmental milestones. The provided evidence aligns with Substandard 2.5, which is literacy and numeracy strategies. It represents the play-based learning experience to implement literacy and numeracy strategies. It also shows my ability to practically engage the children in the development of these skills to achieve the EYLF outcome. Therefore, in my future teaching practice, I intend to use curriculum linked lesson plan to stick to the emergent curriculum practice and use my planning skills effectively to select, organize, and deliver the content effectively, which is based upon the child's observations. It can be linked to the EYLF practice, holistic, integrated, and interconnected approaches. I also intend to use a lesson plan with learning outcomes, especially for the development of early literacy and numeracy skills by intentionally organizing the activities which provides hands-on play-based learning experience. It can be linked with EYLF practice, play-based learning, and intentionality. Next comes standard 3, which is plan for and implement effective teaching and learning. The provided picture aligns with substandard 3.3, which is use teaching strategies. The picture of the learning experience reflects my ability to implement different teaching practices such as modeling, scaffolding, play-based and inquiry-based learning, and others to support children in the development of problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity, and aligning them to the learning outcomes. Provided picture is consistent with substandard 3.4, which is select and use resources. This planned learning experience shows the effective selection and use of resources such as natural material, reusable material to support children's learning with the help of intentional and meaningful selection of resources, and also to promote play-based learning. In my future teaching practice, I intend to use different teaching strategies and adapt them as per the personal needs of each child to deliver learning confidently and also align it with the EYLF learning outcomes. This can be linked to EYLF practice, which is play-based learning and intentionality. I also intend to use effective selection and use of resources, and then customize these resources as required to encourage hands-on experience, exploration, and critical thinking. This substance can be linked with EYLF practice learning environments. Next comes standard 4, which is create and maintain supportive and safe learning environments. Provided evidence shows a risk assessment plan, which can be linked to the substandard 4.4, which is maintain student safety. It shows my knowledge about different risk factors, ethical responsibility, and the importance of active supervision. The provided picture of the supervision plan can be linked to the substandard 4.4, which is maintain student safety. It reflects my understanding of the high risk areas, staff requirements, and awareness of identifying risk and the importance of implementing effective supervision plan. I intend to use supervision plan and risk assessment strategies as part of my future teaching practice to ensure children's safety and safe learning environment through active supervision, effective risk management, ethical compliance. The substandard 4.4 can be linked to EYLF practice learning environments. Next is standard 5, which is assess, provide feedback, and report on student learning. The provided picture of feedback comment can be linked to substandard 5.1, which is assess student learning. It is one of the effective use of assessment strategies to evaluate children's learning. It also reflects my understanding of using assessment strategies to know the effectiveness of the learning approach and content delivery. The provided picture of the teacher's feedback can be linked to the substandard 5.2, which is provide feedback to students on their learning. A timely and constructive feedback from the teacher is one of the best ways to keep track of the student's progress and help to achieve the learning goals and also to know any areas of improvement. As part of my future teaching practice, I intend to use different assessment strategies to evaluate children's learning and to help them achieve developmental milestones. The substandard 5.1 can be linked to EYLF practice assessment and evaluation for learning, development, and well-being. I also intend to use feedback effectively as part of my practice to highlight children's interests and strengths and also to come up with some improvement areas or to provide any personal support. The feedback can also be shared with the families and other professionals for a reflective practice. The substandard 5.2 can be linked with EYLF practice, which is assessment and evaluation for learning, development, and well-being. Next is standard 6, which is engaged in professional learning. The provided evidence of a certificate of attendance can be linked to the standard 6.2, which is engaged in professional learning and improved practice. It shows engagement in online professional development programs to enhance professional knowledge. Provided evidence is another example which can be linked to the substandard 6.2. It shows online participation in professional development program, which helps to stay compliant with center's policies and procedures to support children's well-being and safety. As part of my future teaching practice, I intend to upskill myself through continuous professional development programs to enhance my skills and knowledge and to ensure I'm following a reflective practice in order to stay compliant with the current policies and procedures, meet professional standards, and apply latest teaching strategies and curriculum. The substandard 6.2 can be linked with EVAL principle, critical reflection, and ongoing professional learning. Next is standard 7, which is engage professionally with colleagues, parents, or carers and the community. The provided evidence is the written communication with parents, which can be linked to the substandard 7.3, which is engage with parents or carers. Written communication plays an important role to keep the parents informed about the child's learning or the upcoming events and build respectful relationships. It also helps them to feel empowered to have their say in decision making. The provided evidence shows active engagement in an online forum called Aussie Children Network. This can be linked to the substandard 7.4, which is engaged with professional teaching networks and broader communities. It is a great platform where different teaching professionals share their thoughts, ask questions, give suggestions, and it is one of the best forums to build strong connections, expand knowledge, and ask any questions. Part of my future teaching practice, I intend to engage with parents to develop strong relationships and keep them informed through different communication methods to ensure I'm following a responsive practice. The substandard 7.3 can be linked with EYLF principle partnerships. I also intend to engage in professional teaching networks to keep myself informed, build connections, and support my professional development. Also to get broader exposure to enhance my practice. Substandard 7.4 can be linked with EYLF principle, critical reflection, and ongoing professional learning. This is a list of references. Thank you.